A recent safety operation focused on drivers entering crosswalks without yielding saw the Sacramento Police Department issuing 55 citations. According to city officials, since 2012, there have been over 5,000 traffic collisions where a pedestrian or bike was hit. Thanks for sticking with us here for Fox 40 News at 4:30. I'm Riley Carroll and joined now with the Sacramento Police Department, Officer Anthony Gamble and Detective Corey Johnson. Thank you both so much for joining us. So we just read out a couple of statistics there, some numbers, but I want to put this in perspective. So what do the fatalities look like this year compared to previous years?
This year, the fatal traffic collisions are down compared to this time last year.
That's good news.
Yes.
Right? So even though, of course, in recent months we've seen maybe a higher frequency, it's down overall. So what are some things that the Sacramento Police Department is doing? We talked about that, pedestrians entering crosswalks, but what are some things the department is doing to help combat this?
Well, this week we have another game plan that we will be doing too up in the North Sacramento area. In regards to pedestrian safety, it's not just for pedestrians, it's for scooterists, bicycles, and for drivers as well too.
I think that's something a lot of people think about, people walking into a crosswalk, but scooters, we see the electric scooters a lot around Sacramento. We see them on the sidewalks and then of course pedestrians on them. So what are things that pedestrians need to keep in mind when they're walking or biking or scootering and entering these crosswalks?
Well, our pedestrians need to pay attention to the vehicles, not only to the traffic signals that they have, but to the vehicles. Just because you're crossing the road and you might have the right of way doesn't mean a vehicle's going to stop. And that's some of the things that we run across is vehicles not stopping when they're supposed to. Scooters and bicycles also have vehicle codes that they're supposed to abide by as well too. And you see scooters riding on the sidewalks. Those electric scooters, they can't be on sidewalks. Certain age requirements for riding those as well. And the bicycles and pedestrians are all supposed to follow the rules of the road just like they're driving a vehicle.
And I want to ask you about speed specifically in some of these collisions, because obviously a car going at any rate of speed hitting a person is going to potentially really hurt them, if not kill them. But are we seeing a lot of speeding in these collisions? Are these drivers going over the speed limit when they're actually killing a pedestrian?
Not a lot of them. A lot of them are going the speed limit or pretty close to the speed limit with our pedestrians and even our scooterists. A lot of times they're violating the rules of the road by crossing the roadway at improper places or riding their bike or scooter the wrong direction or just making abrupt turns at the improper times too.
And I want to ask a question. If a driver is following the rules of the road and they're going the speed limit and something happens, obviously stay on scene, obviously call 911, but what are some things that these drivers should think about? I think maybe, unfortunately, a lot of drivers might be scared if they're in this situation, and they might even have the urge to see if the person's okay and drive away. But what should drivers be doing if they end up in a situation like this?
That is a lot of our cases. As it happens, is a pedestrian or a bicyclist or a scooterist gets hit, and the driver of the vehicle does get scared and they leave, and that's the worst thing that you can do, because we find it many times in our hit and run collisions, the pedestrian or the scooterist or the bicyclist was at fault for the collision, and by leaving the scene of that collision, you can get charged with the hit and run.
Okay, so I don't want to get too in the weeds, but it's interesting you just said that sometimes you find that the scooterist or the pedestrian were at fault. I think a lot of us think, well, pedestrians always have the right of way. That's something that's stuck in our minds. But what are the situations in which pedestrians are not abiding by the law and don't have the right of way per se?
A lot of that is jaywalking, crossing at improper places, walking out in the roadway when there's sidewalks on one side of the road and pedestrians are walking on the other side of the road, or people are just running out in the roadway and they're not following the crossing signals. So at our crossing signals, the don't walk and walk signals, people cross at the wrong times.
Okay. And moving forward, I know you have a couple of other operations this week that you guys are working on. So what is that going to look like?
Yeah, so as Detective Johnson mentioned, we'll be in the north area, North Sacramento, over the next couple days, addressing some of the pedestrian safety issues. And like Detective Johnson mentioned, this is really a shared effort here. We can do our part, but we need the motoring population to do their part, as well as the pedestrian population, cycling population. We have to take care of each other, when we're on the roadway.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are some of the specific things that you're going to be looking out for over the next couple of days in these different parts of the city?
Yeah, so some of the big focuses that we're going to be looking at is the pedestrian safety. So crosswalk utilization, vehicles entering the crosswalk when vehicles or when pedestrians are in the crosswalk. Also just unsafe driving behavior of cell phones. A big distraction that we have in our cars are these cell phones.
Yes.
And so we know that that's a violation of the law, and a lot of times they're related to collisions as well.
All right. Thank you both so much. We really appreciate it. Detective Corey Johnson and Officer Anthony Gamble with Sacramento Police Department. Thank you both.
Thank you.